Hi, everybody. This is Quint Lears with newhomesales.com. I'm here with Paul Cardis. Paul, thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here, Quint.
And Paul is the owner and creator, right, of Avid Ratings, like an avid golfer. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, exactly.
Why are ratings so big now in the home building industry?
Well, according to NAHB, 81% of homebuyers are looking for ratings and reviews on their home builder. Where they get them, of course, is a big question mark because not all builders are really leveraging that technology.
Now, Paul is the inside guy. You see all these surveys. You know what's going on. This is an interview. If you're a builder, you want to watch this because Paul's going to get me on behind the curtain and show me what builders are getting dinged on. What is it that they're getting ranked? So if you want to increase your ratings, which translates into sales, is that right?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Higher ratings, higher sales.
You won't buy a pizza, order a movie without star ratings. Why would you buy a home?
I love it. So he's gonna give us the secrets, and I'm actually really curious because I don't know what they are. So, but before we do that, tell me what this new program is, Go Tour, and what you're trying to accomplish with that.
Well, essentially, Avid was started 24 years ago as a traditional paper and pencil company doing surveys. And then we've transitioned now into the world of technology because these reviews, these little tchotchke ratings that people are giving, they're valuable to builders, they're valuable to consumers. And so now they want to be able to access them quickly. We like to say they want to see, click, go, right? They want to see it, click it on their cell phone, and go. And that's how they're shopping today. They're not driving around in the car looking at communities. They're going online and looking up your homes. And if they see star ratings, if they can see your product, they're the ones they're going to go visit.
So, and what do? You compile these ratings from different areas, and then what?
What we decided to do was back in 2012, we realized there was really a dearth of technology. There wasn't anything going on really in home building to, essentially give us that platform to integrate this stuff like Amazon does today, right? You go to Amazon, you can see the product, you can see the options that go with that product, and you can read customer reviews, and they became the #1 retailer in the world, right? Well, we thought, why isn't the home building industry doing a similar thing? We didn't think people were going to actually click buy on a home, but they might do all of their prep work online in that kind of environment. And so we launched Go Tour essentially to provide that and give us a place to put our customer reviews.
So there's not like a buy it now option?
There's not a buy it now, but there is the wish list. And so that's, you can see here, when you click on any of these features, you'll be able to add them to a wish list. So you essentially are curating a list of things you want to buy, but then you'll take it to your design center or you'll take it to your salesperson to get priced out.
So it's hard to see it all with the iPad, but show me or tell me, where can we go see it? Where can our viewers go see your product?
Well, a number of our builders have Go Tour, but you can go to our website at avidratings.com and click on the Go Tour tab at the top, and then you'll be able to see some sample Go Tours that we have live there. But also there's thousands of communities now live on Go Tour across the country, so you should be able to run into one.
So go to Avid Ratings, then click Go Tour, and learn all about that. Now, I want to know, what are the builders, how are they winning and how are they losing? What are those areas that the builders need to be careful at?
Well,
top 5. Give me top 5.
Well, let's take a step back, because when it comes to customer reviews, there's a lot of bad things happening right now where builders think, well, I could just put in a positive review for myself, or maybe I'll pay someone to write me a positive review. In other words, let's just sandbag the results, right? And in fact, there's research companies out there, even in our business today, that will sell you ratings and reviews. I've had them call me and say, hey, we'll help your clients. I've told them to go away, because the bottom line is that that's now becoming illegal. You can't just make up your reviews. It's like the age of advertising back in the 20s, where you open up a catalog and they made ridiculous promises that weren't true. Well, now we have truth in advertising laws. Well, truth in reviews laws are now being put on the books across the country. So the bottom line is that you need to be really careful with your reviews. They have to be legitimate. And here at Avid, that's all we do, is help builders actually generate legitimate, real customer feedback that they can use to sell homes. And so it starts with that philosophy and believing that you have to earn it. You can't just buy it.
Yeah, so they're cracking down on that. Speaking of reviews, you give newhomesales.com 5 out of 5, right?
I do, because I do actually watch it, so it's true, Quint.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. We're trying to build a little community here. By the way, the discussion tab, get in there and participate. If you're a builder who has a question, throw it up there. I'm going to have subject matter experts like Paul Cardis here answer them for you, and that's what I'm trying to create. Paul, I can't wait any longer, man. Tell me, what are the builders, how are they winning? What are they losing? What do they do now? What do we need to know?
Well, one of the things we learned about home building, and this, like I said, we've been doing this for a long time, over 2 decades now, and what we've learned about making customers happy in home building is that product is still king, right? You hear a lot about service, and service is absolutely crucial. Don't forget. But in the end of the day, the data doesn't lie, and the data shows that product still matters. So if I have a faulty sink, or it's leaking, or I have, a bad product in my home, you can be as nice to me all day you want, but in the end of the day, I still need that product to work because I have to live with that product every day, right? So builders often overlook that, research companies often overlook that, and they don't go into the details. But in the end of the day, it is those products we put in. We don't build those. We don't make the toilet. We install the toilet. We don't make the sink, but we install the sink. We don't make the floors, but we put them in. But in the end of the day, if those products aren't delivering or we didn't install it properly, that's going to be a huge area of dissatisfaction. So product satisfaction is number one.
Paul, be specific. What's an area where maybe they're going with cheap faucets or they're going with something off brand? What are those areas where the builders are getting hit, where they could really improve quality and then increase ratings, which increases sales?
Well, the lowest rated area in that category would be landscaping, believe it or not, the outside stuff. Well, think about it, right? It's, you're subject to the weather. If you don't water it, it dies. There's all kinds of things that's hard to maintain landscaping, and expectations are completely out of skew. So that's actually one of the lowest rated, that's the lowest rated product area in the home building experience. And most builders provide it. Some are just down to, seeding lawns and very, very limited packages to maybe they're just doing, a xeriscape. But in the end of the day, they're usually putting down some plants, or they're making some promise that the outside's going to look okay. In the end of the day, that's off the mark with buyers today. And buyers struggle with it from coast to coast, north or southern climates. It doesn't matter. We see it across the country.
I wonder if that's the number one area, if it wouldn't make sense for builders to have a little team of people that helps the trees to grow and to keep it maintained maybe for the first 6 months, at least till the ratings come in, right? No, okay, so let's talk about number two. So landscaping, builders, take great care of your landscaping and maybe help them keep those things alive. What's number two?
Well, you got to set the right expectations on the landscaping. That's really the big deal, And so when it comes to making customers happy, it's always about perception minus the expectations. And so right now, what do we sell? Well, in those, brochures and everything, it's beautiful landscaped communities and houses, and so their expectations that it is going to look like that when I buy it. We all know what happens, right? Well, you get a little plant, in a bucket that's about yay big, and it takes 3 to 5 years for it to grow. Buyers, believe it or not, don't get that. So we have a lot of education to do with buyers to just help them understand this is what you're going to get in year 1, but this is what it's going to look like in year 5 if you take care of it. And so that's really important, is setting those proper expectations, and then also making sure that your landscapers are adhering to the same quality standards that everyone else, like you make your flooring guy and your plumbing guy, adhere to as well.
And if I could jump in, you didn't ask me, get the concrete out of the yard. A lot of builders use it as a washout, but then you can't grow anything, right? I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a landscape expert, so how they go about doing that, but that's probably a really good point. You don't have to plant a whole bunch of living things either. I mean, there's a lot of great things you can do. In the end of the day, they want it to look good. They want it to be appealing, and how you get there, I think, is a matter of taste, and it varies from region to region.
So manage expectations, maybe help them maintain the yard for a little bit to get things up and going. What's number two? How are we losing as a builder? Where are we getting dinged with the customers?
Well, then it falls into the service category, and so now we see days past correction to correct any item, days past closing, to make any corrections. So if you're letting items that came through during the build process stretch over the closing period, okay, that's a big problem, and it happens to every builder, right? We always hear, zero defect homes and all. The reality is we certainly we want a zero defect home, but a very smart superintendent showed me, he said, you show me a house is done and I'll undo it for you. It's like, a house is like the Grand Canyon. You've ever been to the Grand Canyon? You look at it, every time I go there, I always see something different in the Grand Canyon. Why? Because it's so vast, right? And your brain can't process it all. Same thing with a house. We have over 60,000 points of failure in one single home. That was my good friend, Dr. Jack Revell. He was a nuclear scientist and a very smart man. And he actually counted up all the points of failure in the process of building a home. And its average house is 60,000 points of failure. Unbelievable.
So make sure as much as possible they'll get it when you get to closing, when you're transferring the ownership of that home and giving the keys away, that it's as perfect condition. We don't want to have workers coming in and out of the house after they've closed. What's number three?
Well, yes, absolutely. When it comes to days past closing, you got to make sure you're getting, if you've identified early in the game and don't correct it and then they move in, you're setting yourself up for a big disappointment, because they're expecting, it's like buying a car and they say, oh, you know what? Hey, there's a scratch in the hood. Oh, we'll get that buffed up for you. You come back tomorrow and pick it up. You come back tomorrow and pick it up, and guess what? The scratch is still in the hood. And they say, you know what? Bring it back next week. We'll get it, but take it home. How would you feel about that, right? You wouldn't feel so good, right?
I'm mad.
You're mad, yeah. And that's what we do effectively when we let things stretch over like that we've identified and we said we were going to fix, and then we don't. So that's really a big service letdown that we have to be careful of. We track it specifically in our survey, and it is the hardest service question that our clients struggle to do well on. But the best do well in it. It can be done. And it is about setting expectations. It's also about delivering. So we do have to deliver. I mean, there is a standard of done, I know we can undo it, but it's there. It may be a gray line. It may be a moving line. But in the end of the day, you have to work with your customer and find that point where they feel like, yes, you did everything you could.
Okay, number 3.
Well, service certainty. And this is a book that actually we're writing, Jason Forrest and I, and we're here at the FPG conference, so it's great to be here supporting him. But we wrote a book a year ago plus now, so it's been a long effort to put this book together. But together we've partnered to really change the game in terms of what does it mean to make customers happy. We always think, 100% satisfaction, perfection is king and all that. Well, the reality is that certainty is what people want today, not perfection. We live in an imperfect world. When you build a home, you deliver a home, and problems are going to happen usually. And so when we can convey that sense of stability and certainty with that buyer that we're here and we're going to take care of it, and they believe that. They believe that, yeah, you know what? I know my builder's going to take care of me. Everything goes well, even though there might be a problem, even though you might, pop a leak on the PEX, or maybe there's a scratch on the cabinet we missed, or maybe there's some paint touch-ups, or maybe something more serious. The reality is that when you have certainty with that buyer, you're able to traverse all of that and have satisfaction and delight.
Creating the certainty. Give me one more thing where builders are getting dinged and it would be a fix, and give me the fix that they can do. And by the way, don't let me forget, where's my book? I want my book, Service Certainty. Are you going to send us an advanced copy at New Home Sales?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we just finished editing, so it's now going to print pretty soon here. They're doing the final touches and putting all the pictures and all that, but all the writing is done. So now we're at that point.
So one thing we're going to do is start reviewing books, and I would love to get yours in, and we'll do a review, and I'll share it with our audience. So maybe one more tip that builders need to know.
Called inoculation. This is one that has been a long time. Just like in the medical analogy, right? You got to give the body a little bit of the virus in order for it to develop the defense against that virus, controversial or not. And it's the same thing happens in psychology of happiness. If I know something bad might happen to you, but we talk about it early in the game, I'm inoculating your brain to that event. Hey, you know what, Quint, we might have delays because I know that the housing boom is on. Our trade shortage is definitely happening now. We do everything we can. We pick the very best. So, if that happens, I just want you to know, I'll always let you know ahead of time, but it might happen when we build a new home because it's happening in some of my others. But it might not. That's inoculation message, and that's a very appropriate one in today's market with the labor shortage today. So inoculation is huge. Don't run away from these realities that we can't control. When we have things we can't control, like trade shortages, material shortages, weather issues, things like that, we need to be communicating that very, very early in the game with buyers.
Let's say that a builder has a couple of bad reviews. I mean, it's very discouraging. They've put a lot of work and effort. Come back just a little bit this way. Sure. What advice would you have if somebody has a negative review? Do you ignore it? Do you try to outdo it? Tell me about that.
Yeah, the whole world of reviews, because now we've become a very transparent society, right? Even at Avid, we're helping our builders go transparent. Use the power of these reviews to sell more homes. And believe me, it works. But every now and then, we get a bad review, right? We like to call those the beauty marks. When you look at reviews today, do you not buy a product just because there is one bad review?
No.
Right? You read the rest of the reviews, right? So you've got, let's say, 5 happies and 1 unhappy. Are you done with that product?
Not at all.
Yeah, that's what we call the J curve. And the J curve, it means that you have most of your customers are here at the top of the J, but you have a few customers at the bottom of the J. Those few customers at the bottom of the J, that meaning they're unhappy and have low star ratings, validate that those reviews are legitimate. So what we have found is that buyers buy more with products that have a few negative reviews but a lot more positive reviews. If you're in the J curve, you're in the Goldilocks zone. The astronomers talk about that Goldilocks zone, that perfect place where life can form. And this is the perfect place where you're going to sell the most. Not when you have 100% perfect reviews, but actually need a few negatives. So when these negatives come about, you know what? You do the best you can. You try to respond to them in an appropriate manner, if appropriate, and you move on. Always try to make it right with your customer if you can, if they're reasonable, if they're rational, if it's legitimate. And so we always say, do what's right. Just do the right thing with those customers, even when we screwed up. And when we screw up, admit it. And it's okay to be publicly open about saying, you know what? You're right. We really dropped the ball on this one, and I'm so sorry. We're here to help you. Please give me a call and make it right. So what is that? That is transparency. That is authenticity. And in today's world, that's what people are looking for. They want the certainty to know that you're going to be honest with them. And if you do that, guess what? They're going to be fine. They're going to get over it. And the next customer who reads it, they're going to be like, wow, these people are real. And authenticity sells in today's world today, not perfection. And this is that whole concept of the book. And so when we have a negative review, again, just do what's right. What you should avoid doing is getting into fights online. Do not try to resolve things online. Always drive that conversation offline. Please give me a call or give them an email address and try to get that offline conversation so you can resolve it. Because sometimes customers will try to blackmail companies, with the reviews. Sometimes there's some bad things that can happen in the review world. So we think it's best to, just in case those less than 1%ers come out of the woodwork on you, you have that in an offline conversation. Sometimes customers go to the nth degree where they try to hijack you. And when that happens, we also have a program called our Swat Program, which is just like the police. You're sending in a big truck of trained professionals to deal with it, grab control of a situation. We can do the similar kind of thing, leave the weapons in home, but the bottom line is that we can psychologically gain back control with a customer who's gone out of control with you. And so we have essentially programs that help companies deal with that.
Excellent. So landscaping, keep your landscaping in check. Number 2, get the home as prepared as possible, not as perfect, but when it comes to the closing thing, create certainty with the buyers. Not, you can't get everything, but say we're definitely going to take care of you. Make sure they have that assurance. Inoculate. In other words, set expectations and let them know, hey, look, this could happen, and I'm going to communicate that with you. And then the last thing was, when negative reviews come, don't run from them. Don't hide from you. They can actually help create the Goldilocks zone. I'm here with my friend Paul Cardis with Avid Ratings. Paul, I'm excited about you, and we're looking forward. They promised to get me the book. Yes. Keep checking out the videos. Please let us know how we're doing. We want to create, again, that community, the mastermind, kind of like an online mastermind. And again, here with my friend Paul Cardis, newhomesales.com.